Welcome to the Connection Lab podcast. I'm your host, Alex Thomas, and I'm here to help you on your journey to confidence, authentic connection, and a deeply fulfilling life. Welcome to the podcast, Julia Aurora. So I met Julia, I don't remember, like a month ago in Bali. And as soon as I saw you, I just felt this, your inner child was like free. I felt like all this like love, you just had so much love like flowing out of you. And I wanted to connect with you. And we've been connecting a bit the past couple of weeks. And yeah, you're one of the most inspiring women that I met here in Bali. Yeah, like seriously, you just have so much beautiful heart, just so much love flowing out, so much joy. And I went to Julia's Breathwork yesterday, and it was fucking amazing. We'll get more into that
You're
later.
amazing.
So welcome to the podcast, Julia.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Feel very
Blessed.
Yes, I resonate with your t-shirt.
I have a t-shirt that says blessed for people listening in.
And it's rainbow as well.
It's beautiful rainbow.
Yes, that's my favorite color.
I want to make shirts like this.
Yes.
Because like I found this shirt like I don't know, like I think 7 or 8 years ago.
Really?
And I've never found a shirt like this.
No.
So I just want to make shirts like this.
You should.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll buy one.
Okay. All right. Well, let's jump into it. Like the past few weeks, I've talked to you. You tell me so many stories that you like how you've grown so much, and I feel like you are just someone very deep on your growth journey. So was there something that sparked this entire journey?
Yes. I started diving within when I was 14.
14.
14, yeah. I always been spiritual. I always been connected to more than just myself. In terms of I always been seeing spirits, I always had crystals with me. My mom has always encouraged this as well. But when I was 14, I was having chronic illness. I was having also chronic panic attacks, also depression. And that was my first catalyst for going within, understand my body, understand my psyche. And since then, it's just been a journey of self-discovery. And it still is. I'm still unraveling.
Yeah.
I call it unraveling, of just taking off layers of your heart that you once were taught that needs protection.
Yeah.
But in truth, it needs to, or not need to, but can be set free.
Yeah.
If we want that for ourselves, of course.
Yeah, I resonate with that. I think I used to think of growth as in always adding stuff, but now I think the deepest growth is all just letting go of things.
I would say like also allowing in, letting go will happen when we allow, because if we allow, then we also come into the fullness of who we are, which is also the protection, and it is the freedom. So it's always a duality to everything we're feeling. So two feelings can always coexist. So we can have pain and we can have gratitude. We can be sad, but we can also open. And this is what is interesting when it comes to freedom itself, what I find.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like accepting both, all of it.
Yes,
together.
allowing everything in.
Yeah. So when you had the chronic pain, was there something that, like, what was it? Where did it come from?
Trauma, for sure. So childhood trauma, it came from later in my years. I was sexually abused as well, 2 times. So from that, it took years of recovery. So it's always been trauma. It's always been pain that has made me go deeper. So whenever my heart was broken, that's when I have done the most growth.
Yeah.
Not when everything has been fairy, glitter, sparkly. It's always been in pain. That's when I really planted the seeds of going more in and more in and more in, instead of distracting. Which was also a part of my path before. So before I used to run away from it. I didn't want to feel it. And I was telling myself stories. If I didn't tell anyone, it doesn't exist. But that just led me on to more chronic pain. And then more anxiety, more depression. So it was more about when I understood how to let myself in and how to own my story. That was the first. That was when it really started to shift things for me, owning what I've been through, but also choosing love in that.
For me, and I think a lot of people, like, pain is like one of the best drivers of growth. It just forces you to kind of grow because it's painful, so you
Yes.
just want to get out of it. And I think for a lot of people listening too, now whenever I go through a challenging time and feel pain, it kind of sounds kind of like psycho, but like part of me is like excited about it because I know I'm just gonna like it's gonna be a catalyst for such deep growth. And like now looking back in my life, like, pain is what sparked my growth journey like 8 years ago, and it's the thing I'm like, it was the biggest gift of my life. It just opened up me to just
Yes.
grow, and it's just ever since I started growing and seeing that I can grow, it was like it was just like it was. I don't think addicting is the right word, but it was just so enjoyable, just the act of growing that I just always wanted to continue growing. But it all sparked when I first felt that pain.
Exactly. And I think it's always like, can I sit with the pain? And the more we're able to practice that, because life will always throw us something painful here and then. But when we really practice to sit in safety, sit in meditation, but sit with any memory, anything that causes pain, and be the witnesser of it, that's when emotion starts to flow again,
Yeah.
or stuck energy and these type of things. So
When you can just like observe it, not identify with it, the story,
yeah,
just feel it.
yeah, be with it, and
Yeah.
as you say, yeah, for sure.
So when you started, when you were 14, what does your journey look like from there of growth?
Oh
Like
wow.
what was the first part of your journey like, at 14 when you started to grow?
I had a psychologist that I was a time when I was dating a lot of men that were not so far in their journey, I would say, and was not treating me so well. So my mom sent me to a psychologist. And this psychologist was very spiritual. And she did a therapy session with me when she pressed acupuncture points in my body and brought me into a deep state of theta waves. And in these theta waves, she asked me to visualize a mountain. And on that mountain, it was something I was going to grab. And I saw a purple light, really bright purple light. And then I grabbed it, and then she woke me up, and then my whole head was just bursting in headache. And then she put me back to sleep, and then woke me up again. And then, as we were discussing, she said, this light is your guides, and this is something you have very natural to you. So she was really like the first catalyst of putting faith into that I exist beyond just me, that there's other things that can serve support in my journey. And since then, I've been in a lot of doubt of, is this true? Like, I don't know. Is this something I'm making up? Is this just fantasy? But yeah, I've been discovering more and more in yoga, in breathwork. And that was really when I opened up to my guides. And since then, I don't doubt them. So I think everything from the start of my journey to now has just been about cultivating trust. And that's it. And if I have trust, I have everything. So cultivating trust in myself. And that has been unraveled through nature, unraveled through connections with people, and just allowing everything to really be a mirror of my world.
And what is that when you say trust with yourself? What does that look like?
It looks like just being and follow what feels like pleasure, follow what feels like harmony, follow what feels like love. And even though I can have patterns that are not aligned with love, there I know it might be something I have miseducation to love about. That's what I really believe. So when anyone is showing you something, or you are doing something where you might not be aware that you are causing pain for yourself or for others, it's just miseducation to love. And the more I understood that, the more I also understood how to trust. I feel like they're very correlated. Does that make sense? I don't know if that answered your question.
I think a way to clarify this is one of my
Yes.
favorite questions. What do you define as love?
Everything. Everything. Everything that is in creation, that has been created for you, by you, that's love. That's serving your love. So what I mean with created is your actions, right? How you live your life. That is love. Even though if you are in destruction, it's still love because it teaches you something. So anything that is a teaching is love. So everything is love for me. How about you?
I like that answer. It's like the universe then is love. Just everything.
Yes?
Just anything that exists is love.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, and it's changed, I would say, yeah, it's changed a lot. For me, it's more I think of it as when I'm talking about people or to yourself, that type of love is when, or at least in relation to somebody else, it's when you just want the other person to be happy without like any expectation. You just want to give to them. Yeah, like wanting to see the other person happy unconditionally is love. And I think self-love is just wanting to see myself happy, just no matter what, just unconditionally. I just want myself to be happy. I want the best for myself. And yeah, the same thing for another person. Like when I truly love somebody, I just want what's best for you. There's no ulterior motive. I just want to see you do well. And that's love.
For sure.
But now I think it's broadening a bit too. Cause I mean, so there's that aspect. I think like love is is an energy and an emotion. And then there's also the belief of like what the love is. But I think for the energy, it's just, for me at least, it's a sensation like in my body. Like I can feel when love is like flowing inside my body. And the more just present I am, when I'm just present in the now, I can feel I have a lot more access to love,
Yes.
in my body. And then there's like beliefs around it of like when I'm thinking about somebody, like, what does that love mean? But I think I'm opening up to your idea too of love, of like just everything. The universe is love. The entire universe is always giving, it's creating, and that is love.
And I also resonate with what you're saying. Love is connection to yourself. So that is the mirror of everything you experience as well. That makes you connected to you, if we do the introspection.
And what do you mean by mirror?
I mean that anything you experience makes you feel something. And for me, feelings is love, but it's neutral. So there's no good or bad feelings. And through feeling everything and allowing, come in connection to ourselves. And when we are connected to ourselves and who we are in our authenticity, and we let go of the masks, then we often feel this belonging in our bodies as well. So we can play a role of having an identity as well, because that's also a vital part of our existence, to know who we are. But what I mean is just connection is love. And let go of expectation, just connection. And feeling like how is this relationship between you and me? How does this make me feel? It's not about you really, it's about how it makes me feel. That's the relationship I have towards you.
So just having awareness.
Having
of,
awareness, yeah.
And just accepting it and feeling it.
With the awareness, I would say.
Yeah.
And asking, have like an internal questioning to yourself. Am I aligned with my love that serves myself, that serves others, that serves the planet? Or is there something here that's like feels sticky, that feels like dense or tense or even numb? And how can I dive into that with my own presence and my own love? That's something I'm constantly asking myself. What story am I creating? Can I allow that story to be with love? Even though I don't want to sometimes. We all have that when we're triggered specifically. Then just not defining it as a trigger, defining it as now my nervous system is unbalanced. I just need to focus on self-care so I can connect to myself again, and then ask myself these questions. Or what do I make this mean?
And like not judging the story, or not even. The question I want to ask is related to this, I think. Oh yeah, So a month ago, I was kind of telling you before we started the podcast that I was building this thing called Connection Lab. I thought for a long time this was my life's purpose. Like literally told myself like this is what the universe wants me to do. I have no choice. I have to do it. This is what I've been put on this earth for. And for many years, I told myself I'm supposed to build Connection Lab and help people connect, because it was a lot of my story early on. Like I had a lot of social anxiety, and then from that place I wanted to connect with others and help other people connect. So I was doing like facilitating events, all that kind of stuff. I had like another business in the meantime, a marketing business, and the plan was after I sold it, which I just sold it like a month and a half ago, was to go full time into Connection Lab. Anyways, about a month ago, I had a conversation with a friend, and he kind of like made me just rethink everything, because he was telling me like, why am I not like pulled to do the work? Because at the time I wasn't like pulled to do it. It kind of felt like I was like forcing things. So yeah, anyways, I was just deeply reflecting, and while I was reflecting, I came up with the thought of maybe this isn't my purpose. And it was really scary, because like I had this whole identity of like who I was and like what I'm supposed to create in this world. But I allowed myself to explore like maybe this isn't, and I'm just gonna do what I'm passionate about and what I'm excited about right now. Maybe that's Connection Lab, maybe not, but I'm just gonna follow that and let that drive me. And maybe 6 months later, I decided I want to do something else, and I give myself the permission to do that. But ever since I did that and reflected and allowed myself to just explore, which was in itself amazing, I felt this, and I still feel it. I feel this tension, this like anxiety, right, in my solar plexus. And for 3 weeks, most of the time when I feel something, I don't really think about the story. I just feel it, because I meditate like 2 hours a day now, so that's like kind of my way to process things and just feel. But it was still there after like a couple of weeks. Normally I'm able to feel something, and then eventually it passes through me. But this one was like still there. So then like after a few weeks, I was curious, like what is it? What is it? What is anxiety saying? And basically I realized I had this like consciously, or maybe also subconsciously, I had this idea that if I build Connection Lab and I help all these other people connect, and I do all these events and build all these communities, I'm just going to find like all the love and belonging that I want. I'm going to find all the community. So a part of me, my inner child, was like scared of like, if you're throwing this all the way, how do you get love and belonging? You're just throwing away this entire plan. And I still feel the anxiety. But for me, it's one, I'm just continuing to feel it and just like accepting it. And I don't want to like solve it by doing something externally. I don't want to I also want to build like co-living spaces, but like I don't want to do it from a place of just feeling this need, a like internal thing of like this is how I get belonging. I just want to feel like all the love and belonging inside, just inherently, that the universe, I'm belonged by the universe, I am loved, I have love inside me. But it's a continuous process. But I'm curious your thoughts there. Like, would you just continue the way I'm doing it, of just like, because I feel it, I feel it like throughout the day. I'm not judging it, I just feel it. So sometimes I'm like, fuck, it's still there. Like, meditated like so many hours on it. But then I'm like, no, don't.
First of all, I want to congratulate you for being aware. So that is the first step. So when you're aware, you can make change. And also, are you open for a reflection?
Yes.
So usually when we put something outside of us, we are not in control. So that means that what you just said, like your insights of, I want to start this because of this love and belonging, and that is something you're creating outside of yourself to access that. But then you also realize, no, it has to come from me within. So there you are aware. So when we are putting something outside of us, this feeling usually enhances, because it's not something we want to control. So that's the first thing, what I'm hearing. But also, what I'm curious about is when you tap into the feeling, like how does it feel like? Does it feel dense? Does it feel like fear? If you would name where the feeling is and what it is?
It feels like a tight ball, And I realized like when I meditate, it's actually connected to my spine.
Mm-hmm.
The source of the energy is like somewhere in the middle of my spine.
Do you want to release it now?
If it's ready, and I'm open to it, yeah.
Do you feel it now?
Uh-huh.
Is it present? So if you just close your eyes, take a breath in, and then exhale out. So if you're going to where the
I'm really
sensation...
This is so cool. Going back.
Yes. So we are accessing your body. That's what we're doing. So we are letting go of the mind. You don't need to know why it's there. You don't need to understand really what it's going to be about. The only thing is be with curiosity. So taking a full breath in and exhale out. One more time, full breath in and exhale out. So where in your body do you feel the sensation? Right there. So keep breathing to that area. Full breath in. Just be with softness and gentleness. So if this area had a color, what would it be? Black and purple. And if this feeling, the sensation, if you would describe the sensation, how would you describe the sensation?
It's hot.
Mm-hmm. So a hot black purple in your chest area. So keep breathing to that black purple hot place in the chest. There's nothing you need to fix, nothing you need to do. Just be with that sensation. Really exhale with the ah sound. So keep connecting to the black purple sensation, the hot. So if you would describe the sensation now, what color would it be?
A little bit red.
Red. And what sensation is it?
It's hot.
Hot. So now visualizing just a fiery energy in the bottom of your spine with every breath in, going towards that sensation, and exhaling out, knowing fire element as passion, as love, gentleness, more breath. So if you describe where it is in your body, where would it be?
Spine.
In your spine. And what color is it? And what sensation is it?
It's kind of hot.
Hot. And keep breathing to the purple. I'm open to receive. I see clearly. I am clear. Breathing in. Just allowing. Knowing you're connected without needing to do anything. Where is it in the body now?
It's a little more faint.
Keep
but
breathing
it's
to that.
In the spine.
Keep breathing to that. It's loosening up. And now with every breath in, just visualizing water, the one with least resistance, and visualizing energetic strings connected from all your being. With every breath in, I am receiving. With every breath out, I am giving. So if I had one wish for myself that helps me in harmony, what would it be?
If I had one wish for myself,
What do you put faith into that serves harmony, connection to yourself, to others?
feel love,
Anything else?
to feel light.
To feel love and to feel light.
Yeah.
So what do you need to do to receive that?
I don't know.
Keep breathing.
Just be open.
To just be open. And what is openness for you?
Opening my heart. Accepting.
And now you step into what you feel when you say this word for yourself. And accepting, open and accepting. Just allow any sensations to be here and keep breathing in. Do you still feel the sensation?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's less than before.
Mm-hmm. So this is a way you can always meet your sensations. So they're always teaching you something. So that was the first layer, being open and accepting. And this is what I mean with layers. And the more you go into the next layer, something else will also come. It's like an onion. You take off one layer, I can connect to that open and accepting, but I can also connect to this. And all sensations just wants love and attention and care.
So just bringing love to the whole process.
Yeah.
What's the next layer?
That's only for you to define. But I come from a belief of whenever there is suffering involved, when we feel pain body or trauma body, it's almost like a part of ourselves is feeling like we're lacking something. And when we operate from a space of lack, that brings suffering. But in truth, we are with everything. We are one with everything in existence in ourselves, and in existence in the world. And we perceive the world as we are. So, how to bring back the connection is, again, the duality of when we feel like we're lacking something, it's a calling for you to connect to what brings me to oneness in this that I feel is far away from me. And by defining that for yourself, you also know that that's already available for you within you. Does that make sense?
So let's say, like, in this example, part of me is like lacking, feeling like a lack of like belonging in a community or a tribe. What do I do with that?
So know that if this is your truth, if this is your truth now, if this is what you're saying to yourself, that's what you will believe. So what you believe, you become. So I would rather ask you, how would you rephrase that to
Yeah.
something that feels empowering, to something that feels like this is already me? What do you
Yeah.
need to tell yourself? If I said this to you as your best friend, I don't feel this. Like, what would you say to me?
Well, if you were my best friend, then I'd say, I love you. You are loved. You belong right here. You are here. So the universe, obviously, you belong here because otherwise you wouldn't be here. And yeah, you are accepted as you are.
And what you see in me is you. And that's the mirror, right? So how would it feel for you to say that to yourself?
Yeah, I do tell myself that. I think that's been my journey the past month. Is having awareness to this sensation and reminding myself that I'm already loved. Love is inside me. It's flowing inside of me. I belong. The universe loves me. And yeah, I have everything I need.
Yes. And allowing the sensations as well.
I think part of me, now I'm kind of in this phase of just not needing to rush it. But in the past, I want to, like, I feel something. Let me, I know the tool. Let me fix it right now. But with this, yeah, it's been like a month, and I did try a lot of different tools. What you just did, yeah, was helpful. Definitely, like, I felt the sensation relax. But I can still feel that there's more there, which is okay.
But also know that intuition usually speaks through fear. So what I mean with this is intuition is what will expand you. It is what will evolve you. It's the unfamiliar. So how is your relationship with surrendering the unfamiliar?
Now it's pretty great.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So at least for me, when I step into another version of myself, of something I've never done before, it's very normal that the body does this contraction. It's
Yeah.
like a butterfly. Like we cocoon and then we
Yeah.
can spread our wings. That can also be like a sign of the sensation that needs to, it's almost like a purge. It needs to be released because you're making space for something bigger.
And is there anything you would do for it to purge, or you just like allow it to be there and then just let it kind of pass on its own?
I feel like there's millions of ways to kiss the divine. How I purge when I feel this is singing. It's do what nourishes me. Really focus on nourishment and self-care and what makes me feel alive, what makes me feel joy, what makes me feel happy. And that balances my nervous system naturally. And then there is not so much fear or control present. Because when our nervous system is balanced, positive self-talk comes with it.
Yeah.
And we feel it also.
Yeah.
So that's what I do. More like allowing movement as well. Breathing.
Yeah. I think for me it's because I'm seeing it like it's letting go compared to where it was a month ago. A month ago was like really, really intense. So it's letting go like piece by piece. So Yeah, I think for me it's just continuing doing what I'm doing, of like accepting it, bringing awareness to it. Most meditations at night, like I literally feel like a lot of times I feel it in my spine, and it goes, and it like slowly and very painfully goes up all the way, and but then it goes up and it's like shooting, and it feels amazing. Sometimes it
Yes.
goes into my heart and there's like a burning sensation, but it's going away like piece by piece, which I think is okay too, because like I think it is like a pretty deep fear of like the fear of like how do I belong,
Mm.
and yeah, so I'm kind of giving it some time, like well, continuing to do it. I don't think I necessarily need to figure it out. Like it's I have like a friend who's like a monk, and he was just telling me like it's not a problem. Like the it's only a problem if you say it's a problem.
Yeah.
So just yeah, continuing to feel it, nourish it, do what feels kind to myself, and allow.
Exactly. It's like a seed. So when you nourish it, you give it water, so you can become the flower.
Yeah. But I think it's very true. I am in this new phase now, so it just makes sense like that I would feel it, and it's not a
Sure.
not a problem. Yeah.
No, it's never is a problem. All sensations is always neutral. Emotions too. It's our mind that defines it as good or bad, positive or negative. But it's always neutral. It's just energy that wants to be seen, or is a
Yeah.
visitor in your body that wants to be released when we allow. So it's just about what you're doing, being present with it, loving it,
Yeah.
not running away from it, being there.
Yeah.
I see you, I love you, thank you.
If you get, because I'm sure a lot of people in the audience, a lot of people in our audience, they're learning to be more confident. Some of them just feel anxious in like social situations, so they feel anxiety. What would you say for somebody that's feeling anxious or social anxiety? How would they deal with that anxiety?
I think it comes down to accepting yourself as you are and allowing yourself to be anxious in social settings and allowing yourself to be with that, because that's also vulnerability in a way. And if you want to work with this, I know when I had social anxiety in my past, I've been going through my body. So for me, dance has been a great tool to make my body big. So I put on like a Beyonce song or like any song that feels like, oh, like my body feels big in this, and I dance big movements with my body. So maybe my body wants to start by like, oh, this is a little bit awkward, but then the more I allow my body to move in a big way, confidence builds with it. So dance for sure is a great way to build
Yeah.
confidence in yourself and to be connected to your body.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I think Tony Robbins talks about it, like shifting your state.
Yeah.
One of the things he kind of talks about all the time is just changing your body. If you're anxious, you're probably going to be like a little scrunched over. Your shoulders are going to be down.
Yes.
So just do the opposite. Just make your body very open, and it will tell your mind that you are safe.
Exactly.
everything's
And
okay.
it's the same with yoga. The way you breathe is usually the way you are feeling. The way you move, it also says a lot about your states. So the more we become present with, aware, I would say, with like, okay, how is my body? How is my breath? How is my mind? And we check in with that, we can also create changes. What you say? Can I open my chest a bit more? Can I do something weird? Can I allow myself to just be weird? Can I allow myself to be small? Can I allow myself to be big? Doesn't matter. The most important thing is that I feel is that we're just true to ourselves.
Beautiful. I think related to this, I think a lot of people that have social anxiety, they're just not feeling love towards themselves. They're not accepting themselves. And I think you're one of the most seems like one of the most self-loving people that I know. You just seems like you really accept yourself at a really deep level. So I'm curious, what was the journey for you, or what was like one of the, if somebody can do like just one thing today to take away from this of like how they can be more loving to themselves, was there something that you did that really shifted your relationship to self-love?
Yes. I come from a journey where I used to hate myself. Like, hate. Even though I did conscious ceremonies, I left with self-hatred after. And
I
what
can't imagine that now.
I know. That was another woman. I was constantly hating myself. I opened up to my best friend about it just, I think, 2 years ago, and she was shocked because it didn't come up in this space. But I was always left with this feeling of just hating myself for everything I said, everything I did. So I came from a very destructive mindset, and what shifted in me was when I really started seeing myself as a goddess, to be honest. I did this. This was when I was living in Norway. I started saying goddess in front of everything I did. So it was not just having a meal, I was having a goddess meal. It was like everything I did, I just put goddess in front of it. That changed a lot. And I know it's not goddess of like I am above you. It's more like bringing in that energy of like I deserved it. Like not deserve, but like I feel it. I feel enough. That's goddess energy.
Yeah.
Like I feel enough for my love. I feel enough for also self-sabotaging sometimes. That's okay. And it's just, I feel like when we embrace that we are enough, that's when we really can start growing. So,
Or it's like that you are just like sacred. You're divine.
Yes.
Everything that you do is divine.
yes, yes. And also something I did was, what I was really mindful of was practicing receiving. So my mind was saying a story of like, I'm not worthy love, I'm not enough, people don't like me, I hate myself, all of these stories. But when I started practicing receiving, I understood that what existed in my mind is just illusions. It's not real. And what I'm telling myself is not real. So when I
Wow.
realized that, I started practicing receiving. And what I mean with receiving is like when I look into the eyes of someone and I go into a receptive energy of receiving that person, then how does that make me feel? That's the energy, that's the truth. Does it make me feel love? If it doesn't, then question why. And the more I question why, the more I start to also understand the game of, not the game, but like what is illusion and what is truth. And then understood that love is always truth, non-judgment is the truth. And if I'm in judgment against myself, I'm probably in an illusion.
Can you give like an example of for somebody that wants to learn how to receive? Somebody's listening today. How can they get better at receiving?
Practice mindfulness. So I had a great physio when I broke my knee who taught me about mindfulness. And he asked me, how are you feeling? And I was like, I'm so stressed. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have time. I was studying. And he said, when you're going between your studies and the gym, what do you do? And I said, well, I just bike one direction. And he said, do you see the environment around you? Do you actually witness your environment? Do you
Yeah.
see the beauty around you? And I was like, no. So that's something. Like, can we be mindful in our daily life, even though we're active, to just receive beauty around us because it's there all the time if we want to see it. So I think it's more about allowing beauty in and practicing receiving. So can be looking at a tree, really looking at it and really like, wow, almost being in awe of something, bringing that in. When I'm looking at you, like I'm in awe, like, wow, what a beautiful human, layers that I can see many things. I can see an energy, I can see a personality, I can see a character, I can feel you. And that is like receiving for me. So I would say.
Yeah, seeing the beauty. It's kind of like seeing things. I don't know if seeing things in a filter is the right word. Because I think when people aren't looking for it, I think when after a lot of my journey, I just believe like life is always giving to me and everything. But then now it's like I kind of see it. I just see it like because my mind, I'm looking for it. I'm receiving that.
Yes.
And I think in the past, or at least like a long time ago in the past, I think when I was in a very anxious state, I think, yeah, life isn't giving to me. I think everything is like danger. Everything's a potential danger. So I'm like always looking out for the danger and seeing the world as a dangerous place.
Yeah.
So it was like a change of filter
Yes.
of what I was like allowing to have received.
You can always think, is life working for me or against me? And I
Yeah.
think that is the duality, right? We can decide to live in. So, do I believe that life is working against me, or do I believe it's actually working for me? And when we
Yeah.
believe for me, we get more curious
Yeah.
and we discover more. But
Yeah.
if it's against me, it's almost what you say, this fight or flight, pushing,
Yeah.
forcing, overcoming constantly. But if we investigate in the teachings, we open
Yeah.
up more.
I think
feel.
that would be like, if anybody can just make that change just from this, that would be a deep transformation. Just making that shift. Is life giving to me,
Yeah.
or is it against me? And I think like in the past, I used to tell people like, just tell yourself that, because your mind is pretty easy to trick. You can trick your mind pretty easily, and if you tell yourself these things, the mind will start looking for it. If you have a
Yes.
belief, the mind will just start looking for it. I think one, that enough is just great, because if you're ideally better in a place where you think life is giving to you, because one, you're just going to feel better, things are going to start coming to you in a better way. But I also think there is something actually beyond that. I really do think, and maybe I was going to say, maybe I brainwashed myself enough to believe it, but I really do believe it. When I am open to receiving, life is just always just giving to me, and it's kind of ridiculous, like the way it just keeps giving to me. And it's like beyond. I used to think it's just a mental thing that I'm doing to make myself feel good, but I truly feel there is something much beyond that
Yes.
when you are open to receiving. So it's not just a filter switch. There is something, I don't know, mystical or something that happens when you're open to receiving. It's like life, when you're grateful for things happening and you're like seeing things in all, life just gives you more beautiful things
Yeah.
to look at.
For sure. I had a shaman who told me love, compassion, gratitude, and faith is all you need. If you're with them, you are with connection. And
Yeah.
faith is what I believe I become. So what you're saying, maybe it sounds like I'm tricking my mind,
At least in the
but
beginning.
you're not. You're actually like you're calling in an intention, and where
Yeah.
intention goes, energy flows. And compassion for yourself is a lot about gentleness, softness. It's about also if people has hurt you or challenged you, seeing their journey as well. If we would walk in their shoes, we would probably end up the same as well. And love is just expansion. And
Yeah.
gratitude is really serving our whole body.
Yeah.
Gratitude for insights, gratitude for who we are,
Yeah.
and it brings energy in.
Yeah. It's all just like high frequencies of energy.
Yes.
I used to not like, I used to hear people say frequencies, and I was like, oh yeah, it sounds good. I think I believe in it. But then it was only just like a month ago that I had this like epiphany kind of moment. I was like, holy shit, frequencies is like really a real thing. Because I was just looking at my life and just seeing it play out, and looking at other people's lives. Whenever I am in a grateful state, in a grateful energy, or a joyous energy, or just a loving energy, like it literally just attracts other energies that are going to make me feel more grateful, make me feel more love, make me feel more joy.
Yes.
And yeah, in the past, I used to think it's just something I could trick myself and it'll make myself feel good. But there is just something beyond it. Joe Dispenza talks a bit about it, like frequencies and energies and how they actually attract each other
And
in
love
like a
always
quantum way.
expands. That's the
Yeah.
thing. That's why love is so important, because it expands. It never stops. It's
Yeah.
like the space. Space also always
like
expands.
infinite.
It's infinite and it always grows. And the same with love, it always grows. So we might know one reality when we take off one layer, but then also
Yeah.
knowing there is more magic even above that, and it never stops. It just grows and grows.
Yeah. So let's say somebody was listening, they believe everything we just said. They should feel more love, they should feel more compassion, joy, and it attracts more. How do they do it? How do they feel these energies?
I think it's being curious and investigating where in my life am I resisting love. That can be a good question to ask yourself. Is there anywhere in my life I'm resisting love from myself?
Yeah.
Is there anywhere in my life I'm resisting love from community? Start asking yourself questions. And then also, how can I open up to receive love? What do I need? So always come back to your needs. I think it's always simple. Simplicity. And just allowing yourself to be as you are. where there is nothing you need to change, nothing you need to do, just being, but asking questions and asking why when we're feeling, asking not when we're feeling, but asking why. Like, be your own reflection board almost. Interesting. This feeling of like shutting down is coming up instead of being like like help. Be like interesting. Hello, I love you. Thank you for showing up. It's teaching me something.
Yeah.
Do I want to change? Do I not?
Yeah.
If I don't. If you want to, do it.
Receiving everything with curiosity, acceptance, and love.
Yeah, and allowing
Yeah.
yourself to be as you are.
Beautiful. I don't know what time we started. I don't know how long it's been. But I have
What a portal.
I have one question that I really want to ask you specifically.
Yes.
'Cause you seem really, well, I don't know if a lot of our audience even knows what inner child work is, but you seem very connected to your inner child. So you seem very playful and free and just safe to do whatever the hell they want.
Yes.
What has that journey been for you? Of connecting and
How I awakened to it or unraveled it or
if you can just like summarize the journey for somebody listening that maybe knows a little bit about inner child work or knows nothing about it, if you can just briefly describe like what it is and what was your journey for healing your inner child so that you can feel this like playfulness and freeness that you feel.
I was so how it started for me was actually when I started studying yoga. My yoga teacher was all about look at children, look how they behave. They just like hear a music and then they start to move. And we practiced a lot of these type of exercises. And
You went to schools and just like watched kids. That'd be cool too.
No, we didn't watch kids, but in my yoga teacher training was about authenticity. That was what the training was about. It was all about authenticity. And authenticity is being connected to your inner child. So I think it's about realizing, am I holding on to identity and why? And also having a little bit of like, I don't care attitude. Not that like, I do care, but also embracing that I can be wild.
It's like nothing is serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing is serious because I think seriousness usually is a miseducation to love. It's when we are too serious about something, it's not miseducation to love, but it can be like, for me, that energy in my body feels like I must. And that doesn't feel fun.
It's like contracting.
Yeah, so I think it's a lot for me about just embracing play in everything I do. Embracing pleasure. That's what children do. They get curious. They play. They are vulnerable. And the more we tap into our vulnerability, that is, I think, the biggest, what society has taught us, that is something we shouldn't be, that is weak. But that is what's actually the greatest courage to break, first of all, generational patterns, but also our greatest courage to break patterns within ourselves. And that was a lot in my journey of, can I be so honest with myself and allowing myself to be vulnerable, but also playing with it. So I almost see myself as Shiva. He plays around the fire, he dances with life, and he throws in the fire whatever doesn't serve him. And that for me allows my inner child to come out. So today my inner child is a lot about just allowing and having fun. Life is not serious anyway. Just playing with it and doing what brings me joy, what brings me light, what brings me expansion. So asking myself, is this expanding me? And then do that if it does.
Two questions I have with that. One is going to be about myself, so we'll leave that
Yes.
out there. But the first one is, you said, embracing more play and vulnerability. But at least with play, how can somebody bring in more play today or tomorrow in their life?
I would start with just smiling at people can be one. If you go outside, butterfly. If you go outside, practice smiling at your environment and be mindful. I'm going into a receptive energy and see how that affects yourself as well and see how that smile affects others. That can be one thing of bringing playfulness into your life. It can also be if you are doing work, for instance, then add pleasure to it. Add candles, add an incense, add something like an ambience, music that you really enjoy, and like shake a little, move also. Anything that like makes life interesting.
Yeah, it's just like adding fun to anything you do
Yeah,
and pleasure.
that I highly believe. Yes.
Beautiful. All right, now back to my coaching session with you.
Yes.
This is actually what all this is. It's just not a podcast. It's you coaching me for free.
I love it.
This is how I got you.
No, it's connection.
We're talking about inner child. Yesterday I did your breath work, and it was fucking amazing. Just we can briefly describe it. We did this. We did a lot of things, but we breathe into the stomach with like arching the spine forward, and then just like exhale backwards. And for people that have done breath work or know it, most breath works I've been to is very intense. Deep inhale through the mouth, deep exhale. Well, this one was like very light. It felt light, but it was very intense. Like the breathing was light, but it brought up a lot in me. One of the deepest breath works I've ever had. It was really, really beautiful. So I started feeling a lot of sadness. I was like crying. Then you came over and you just said, be gentle. Because normally when I face those emotions, I'm like, yes, time to pull this trauma out. like yank it out, like push through it, just feel the pain. Which sometimes can work too. But you were just like, be gentle. And so I kind of brought it with... Just brought a lot of love to it. Just continued bringing the awareness, but just also combined it with love. And then by the end of the session, I literally just felt my entire body just like flooding with this loving energy. And it was so beautiful. Yeah, as you said, it's kind of normal after the session for that. Something gets triggered, something comes up. So the night I was feeling sad. This morning I was feeling sad. I went to ecstatic dance today, and I was feeling sad. Normally in dances, I'm like, super happy and excited. But I was feeling sad. And I was just allowing sadness to be. Not like judging it, feeling bad that, why am I sad? Then I was connecting with my inner child. So what I realized yesterday, not like kind of a little bit, is that it was my 5-year-old. I have a 5-year-old inner child who, he was just sad. And today I connected with it. And first, I was like, what do you want? He's like, I want some ice cream.
Yes.
So I went and got some ice cream.
Amazing.
Then I said, what do you want? He said, I want to go home and cry. Or I want to go home and talk. So I went to my bed. I was talking to it. And it was just really sad. And I allowed myself to feel it. And I was like crying. Which normally, that's only really happened during breath work. I've never really done that like the next day. Usually after my way of dealing with it is always just, I meditate and I'm just like stillness, just complete stillness, observe, which is also good. And I do feel the energy pass. But this time I wanted to, interact with it a bit more, interact with my inner child. He was feeling sad. He said that, or at least when I asked it, it's like, what do you feel, or what's wrong? He said, nobody wants to play with me. Nobody wants to play with me. And he was feeling sad about that. And I just continued to be with him, give him just a lot of love, a lot of encouragement, tell him you can take as much time as you need to be sad. It's okay to be sad. I will play with you. And just encouragement. Where was I going with this?
So beautiful.
Yeah, it was really beautiful experience. Even when I'm like, it's really interesting now. Like now when for a lot of people, this sounds concept like psycho because people aren't used to this. But now when I feel these intense emotions, these emotions like sadness and anger, there's one part of me feeling it, another part of me is like just very like, wow, this is so beautiful. I just see just the beauty in it.
Yes.
So really beautiful experience. But so now I'm curious, what would you say? I think a lot of it, sadness kind of was relieved. What would you do in my shoes if you feel this sadness?
First, I admire the way you're already approaching it. That is exactly how I would approach it as well. And knowing that when you do breath work, you open up.
Yeah.
So things need to be released in order for this openness to the heart. So when we cry, it's a baptism of your heart. It's a new reality you're being born into. And with this type of breath work, it's very subconscious.
Yeah.
We go through subconscious patterns. I sing both ancestry, I also sing celestial gates. So knowing also the process and embracing the process as beautifully you do intuitively is also, I want to say that as a reflection to you, that you're very connected to your intuition in this as well. I feel like you already know. You know what to do. And something that can help to further investigate is, I would just, from this stage of you have been meeting it, you are with it, so you're not running away, you are meeting it, I would contemplate on what do I put faith into now from the version I am now.
What do I put faith into?
So you have the sadness, so what do you put faith into? What brings you peace in this?
That there's nothing to solve. All I need is to feel, to accept, to be curious, and bring love to it. And that's it. That's all I need. There's nothing more I need.
Do you still feel the sadness in you?
A little bit. Yeah, I can feel a little bit in my cheeks.
Yeah?
A little bit.
So what do you need?
I think just awareness. Just awareness, feel sensations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, like when I'm facing these type of sadness, I go into grief. What I do in myself is always connecting to support for myself, connecting to what I need, what brings me nourishment, and allowing the grief.
Like ice cream.
Yes, more ice cream. It's me always talk to myself as my own best friend.
Yeah.
And when we create that relationship, we rewire our mind as well. And we support ourselves rather than being our own enemy.
To meet everything with just love and acceptance. I think for me, something I kind of clicked for me was like, I just felt so like secure in that no matter what I face, I just know I can hold space for myself. Like handle it because I know how to hold space for myself. And that was really beautiful.
Yes, and also like you love to dance. So even though if it is ecstatic dance and everyone's like, wow, if you are feeling sad in that space, that's beautiful because you can move with the sadness by setting an intention. I want to feel you sadness. And how does my body move in the sadness? And expressing that in the body. So like it can be anything from like going down, going up, throwing your arms, but allowing your body to express. So any energy in the body wants to be released through either sound, breath, or movement.
Sound, breath, or movement.
Sound, breath, or movement. So if we are sad, we can move with the sadness. And that's something I practice a lot in any emotion.
I think that this would be super helpful for anyone anytime they feel any emotion. Yeah, try dancing and see what, just allow that emotion to just channel it.
It's like art. When you look at art,
yeah.
you see like the painting is so beautiful, but the artist might have been in the deepest grief while putting the art piece out.
It was just authentic expression of what
And
they
it's the
felt.
same with movement.
Yeah.
Like you feel
beautiful.
something that can be so painful, but when you express it through your body,
Yeah, it's beautiful.
it becomes something else. It becomes creation. You're creating something.
Beautiful. I never thought of dance that. I always thought of art that way. I never thought of it with dance.
Yeah,
That's beautiful. All right. We have time for one more question.
of course. I can talk to you all day.
All right. Well, now that we got into inner child work, we got into breath work. Now, I don't think we talked at all about what you do. So let's talk about, just the last thing of breath work. I think you do something called wild love breath work.
Yes.
So for anyone listening that doesn't even know what breath work is, doesn't know what wild love breath work is, doesn't know what it's for, can you just talk about what you do with breath work?
So I do breath work that is for your parasympathetic nervous system, which is what you experience, a very gentle approach to meet your inner self. So it's very spacious. So when we breathe in a conscious, connected breathing way, we put a lot of energy into our body. We put love into our body. So our inhale is love and exhale is letting go, is release. And that is the cycle we are putting in our body in. And when we are putting our body in that cycle, we are becoming one with the cycle of nature, which is creation and destruction. So that's usually what happens in the breathwork, that you meet your patterns, you can meet conditioning, you can meet pleasure, you can meet orgasmic states.
Yeah, you can.
Yes. So the breathwork I teach is almost like you're entering a self-hypnotic state, and you are meeting yourself with a lot of spaciousness, which is very beneficial for trauma work. What I find, when you breathe through the mouth, as you do in other breathwork, they are great styles as well, but you can become more agitated quickly. What I find, especially if you have a lot of trauma in the body, and it can be too overwhelming to face it if you feel like you can't hold it in yourself. But with this type of breath work, it's very gentle. That's your experience. It's very soft. It's very gentle, and the approach is always through gentleness. So that's why I really like this breath work, because it brings you very deep in REM sleep. You breathe the same as you do in REM sleep, and you also breathe the same as you do as a newborn baby. So it brings a birthing aspect to it. So if you want to let go of any limiting beliefs, any emotions that feel stuck, then breathwork is a beautiful way to open up. I found with breathwork, like before I was doing therapy, and I was recovering from sexual abuse. So with therapy, I just became so aware, which just made me more anxious, to be honest. I was just like, what do I do with this information? You know?
I think a lot of therapy, like traditional talk therapy.
Yes,
like
you become so aware. Like, I know everything.
I know exactly why I'm fucked up.
Exactly.
Now I just accept that I'm fucked up.
So I still found myself super triggered around men. I still found myself like always in a triggered, high alert state. But when I started with breathwork, what was different there is that you're actually purging. Like, your body, the deeper you go into practice, your body is speaking to you, and your body is moving it out.
Because this is in your body, like your body keeps store of these emotions.
So when you let that out, it's not a part of you anymore.
You literally let go of it.
Yes, and you heighten your nervous system, so the tolerance levels of your nervous system, so you can tolerate more, you can hold capacity for more. So it reduces fear and just embodies this deep sense of love.
That's the thing I loved about yours, because I've done other breath works, and some of them are really good. Like, I get these also deep releases. But a lot of times it's very deep, and like one of my past breath works, it was really intense. Like, a lot of anger came up, but I didn't really know what to like. So it was a good release, but I didn't exactly know what to do after. But with yours, it was like at the same time that I was letting go, I was like immediately bringing love to it. So instead of just being left in this like angry state and just feeling the anger, which can be, sometimes good too, it was meeting it with love. So it was kind of like letting go while at the same time replacing it with just love. It was really, 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 really beautiful. Like, really one of the best breathworks I've ever done in my life.
Hey, you created that.
Yeah,
I did nothing, to be honest.
No, you did. You guided it.
I just put like frequency, I feel.
Yeah, frequency. You did bring frequency. Because I couldn't hear, because with the mic you were using, I couldn't hear like most of the stuff you were saying. But it was just literally just your energy and your presence and your just loving warmth that made me feel safer to go deeper into it.
I do make sure that my energy is always with love, compassion, gratitude, and faith when I sing or when I speak, when I facilitate. And if I'm, like most my shaman said, if I'm with that, then that connects.
So you do some kind of like grounding ritual before then to get yourself to that?
I always make sure I'm connected to earth, but I also make sure I'm really connected to sky. So it's almost like I'm the bridge of all dimensions. That's how I connect.
How does that look for you? Is it a meditation, a visualization?
It's about being as soft as I can in my heart. So that I do through breath, just going into my heart and feeling the sensation of my heart. That's also what I did in the class, if you remember. Like, we went into the heart, we felt our sensations, and then we released it with the ah sound. So we really feel a softness in the heart.
Okay.
So that's what I do with myself as well. I feel soft in my heart, and then I go into the earth and I feel the body parts that is touching the earth. And then I say to myself, I'm open to receive. And it's almost like I'm imagining, not imagining, I'm just like really tuning into my senses. So I'm feeling like my skin as ears. I'm hearing the sounds. I'm listening. I'm more in a witnesser in myself. I'm not me. And that's what's interesting, right? So like it's not
Just the awareness.
I am still me, but I'm in as deep meditation state as you are. I travel with you with my singing. So that's what I do. Like, I'm just allowing everything to be a witnesser. And if my inner child
Wow, so cool.
comes up, I feel afraid of singing. That can happen.
But you just see it. You just
Then
bring
I
awareness
see
to it.
her and I say, hello, I love you. We're going to do this anyway.
Yeah.
I love you. Like, it's no problem. And then I do it anyway.
Yeah.
And this also cultivates this trust in the body and
Beautiful.
empowerment. So, yeah, it's all energy work, really. And it's just about surrendering and letting go and just guiding fully from intuition, not having a plan, just fully intuition.
Yeah. It's like letting go and just trusting.
Just just creating from nothing, basically. So with breathwork, I have a playlist prepared, but that's it. I don't know what I'm gonna say. I don't know what I'm gonna sing. I don't know what I'm going to do. I never know what melodies comes through.
Wow.
And it's just by being in the heart and just trusting that it will come,
Beautiful.
and it does. Always.
Yeah, I saw it happen. So it was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful experience. If somebody wanted to do breathwork, do you do sessions online, or how can somebody do breathwork?
I do. So you can connect to me through A Wild Breathwork. You can find me on Instagram. You can also find me on my webpage. And you can also search for me on Facebook, Julia Aurora. I'm happy to connect any of the social media.
Cool.
But yeah, I do online session and we combine it with art therapy as well. And if you are in Bali, it's a lot about music creation as well, and art therapy and singing. It depends on your needs, and then I tailor it to what you need.
Yeah. I think anyone like looking to feel deeper self-love or just love just by being, like just simply just by being near you, ideally working with you, like being near you is just gonna like, that in itself would be healing, transformative for somebody.
What you see
So-
in me is you. You know that, right?
I do believe that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely highly recommend people
Sweet.
you're looking to feel more love, just feel more acceptance, feel more joy, feel more peace. Just feel basically whatever you're feeling. Go work with you.
Oh, thank you, love.
Is there any final message you'd want to give to somebody that's on their journey?
I'll say the same as my first yoga teacher told me when I was embarking my journey. And she just said, trust. That's it. Just trust. You don't need anything else than trust. And that looks so different to everyone. But define what trust is by listening to your needs, by embracing who you are, and feeling enough in every part of your being. And the more you invite that and allow that in, that will be created in the life too.
So just allow everything with acceptance, with love. Yeah, and trust that.
And be your magic you.
Be your what?
Magic you.
Magic.
Yes.
Or be a goddess.
Which is just you. Yes. Why not?
Beautiful. This is awesome. Thank you for hopping on the show, Julia.
Thank you.
I'll leave some show notes with some links. Yeah, beautiful time with you.
You're amazing.
Thank you guys so much for sticking with us till the end of this episode. If you liked the episode, please leave a review on whatever platform you're listening to. It makes a huge, huge help for us. So please do that. We have some amazing people already lined up for the next several podcasts. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.